about it because it is going to be a good one. Hello, Facebook. Hello, all those watching on Catch Up on YouTube. Very nice to see you. Happy Thursday if you're watching me in real time. I am in Bonnie, Scotland. Yeah, I put a few little teaser video clips up on my Instagram earlier on today. I've headed north, and in fact I'm going to be coming live next week on Tuesday, back at the normal time, lunchtime, if you're watching me on real time obviously, from the Outer Hebrides. Yeah, so doing a little bit of a round tour at the moment. But I was just saying to our friends who are on Instagram, I am a bit of a chocoholic, a bit of a chocolate fan, and I have managed to get myself onto dark chocolate, high in polyphenols, incredibly good for us, very gut friendly, kind of 70, 80, even 90% sometimes pure chocolate. But it does still contain sugar, and it does still potentially spike insulin, our blood sugar levels. So how excited was I to discover Nomosu, which stands for no more sugar. I don't know if you can see that kind of in there. And I'm going to be talking to another fab female founder, Sakiko Rutashkioid. I hope I've said that correctly. Who's got a fascinating background, being part Japanese, part Scandinavian, got a master's in functional medicine, really knows everything there is to know about sugar, sugar cravings, what to do about them. What's the difference between the different types of sugar? Is fruit okay? Is fructose okay? Should we be eating honey? You know, all of that. Really fascinating. So keep your questions coming. I can see them on Instagram. I can't see them obviously on Facebook so easily, but we do have Rachel, who's our social media manager at Earle Wellbeing, manning Facebook. So hi there, nice to see you. So we can obviously pop links up on Facebook, but we can't do that on Instagram. So if you need to get the links, please head to lizarwellbeing.com, or if you go to the little bio on Instagram, then we do try and put as many links there as we can. So let's see whether we can get Sakiko. Now the reason, thank you very much everyone who's joining me later today, if you're watching me live, is that Sakiko is actually over on the west coast of America. So to get her live, I think she's had to get up very, very early, even possibly before dawn. So let's see whether we can patch her in across the globe. It's always so exciting, I think, when you can connect live with people in real time in somewhere completely different, totally different, not only just different country, but different continent. So hi, nice to see everybody. Hi Nicola, Stephen, hi Crafty Jean. So let me go accept. I'm accepting you, Nikiko. So let's try you. Here we go. Hopefully you will be able. Sakiko, are you there? Well, I can see you because I can see you on my Instagram. I think maybe you might need to come off, maybe Sakiko, and try again. Try and request again. Hi, nice to see you. Hi, Alison. Yeah, Lisa, good to see you. Who else? Hello. I can see my mother is on Facebook. Nice to see you all. Yeah, I'm up in Scotland at the moment. Oh, it says Nomosu is unable to join. Why is that? Let's try again. Okay, let's definitely try again. And hopefully that will work. Just to say, actually, on my travels, I brought these, a couple of lovely things with me, and they've kind of come home because they were made in Scotland. These are travel wraps. These are my two favourites at the moment. This is the traditional cashmere one. They're hand woven with the finest Mongolian cashmere in Hawick, which is not that far away. And this is just super, super soft cashmere. I've had this for years. It lasts forever. It's so well made. I just love them. And we do have the Liz Loves 10% on travel wrap. Let me just give you the code, because it's Liz Loves 22 if you're interested in the travel wrap. Liz Loves 22 gets you 10% off. But this one is obviously lovely for when it's chilly, and it is quite chilly actually up here in Scotland at the moment. I am quite a long way north, and it is quite fresh. It's quite nippy out there. And then this one is the one, I actually took this one to Turkey. You've probably seen from my Instagram, I was in Turkey at a wellness conference last week. And this one has my little initials on it here, LE. And this is much lighter. So this is a really lovely, lightweight one. I think it might be a mix of silk and cashmere. Can't quite remember. Anyway, really, really beautiful. Yeah, you're totally right, Nina. We need the Total Wardrobe Care moth box for these. Moths, it's their breeding season apparently at the moment. So if you've been plagued by moths and moth holes, please make sure you get the moth decoy. It's the only thing, genuinely, the only thing, hand on heart, that I have ever found that stops the moths. It literally stops them breeding. Doesn't kill them, so it's actually a bio-insecticide, if you like. It's non-toxic, non-harmful. It just stops them breeding. And because they don't breed, they don't produce the little larvae, and it's the little larvae that munch their way through our favourite fabrics. All those lovely cottons and wools and cashmeres, all of that moths absolutely love as they are going from larvae into moths. So let's try Nomo Sue again. Let's see, I can see that you have tried me. Yeah, what's the best thing out of their range? Which range? Which range are you talking about? Hi! Are we talking about the sugar? Sakiko, I'm so pleased that we made this work because I've been so looking forward to talking to you.
Likewise. Sorry for the
Oh, don't worry. It's probably the Scottish gremlins up in the Highlands because you're in LA, are you? Is that right?
Los Angeles, yeah. Yes, LA.
Okay, and what time is it with you?
Oh, it's 9 o'clock, so totally civilized.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, good,
Yes.
good. And are you based out there, or are you just out there for work
I'm
or
kind of
holiday?
halfway London and LA for now. It's kind of been a crazy traveling year because we're expanding in the US, and being here and doing live sampling really helps, and so that's why I'm here.
Okay, excellent. Alison, sorry, before we get into sugar and sugar-free chocolate, yeah, Total Wardrobe Company, Alison, go and check them out. You'll see them on Earle Wellbeing. They are the best thing. Do you get moths out in LA? Because they are the devil here at the moment.
Yeah, they're not as bad as I've found in London in the past, but we've one or two.
Yeah.
Do pop up.
And it's the season apparently, so you need to be prepared. It's just devastating, and they always go for your favourite things, don't they? Anyway,
exactly.
As I mentioned in my little intro, you have a master's in functional medicine looking specifically at the role of sugar in the diet.
Yes, my dissertation was on fructose and atherosclerosis, which is basically cardiovascular disease, which is still the biggest killer of human beings on Earth. But it was an interesting dissertation because it just made me realize all the pathways are connected with all of these chronic diseases. And fructose and sucrose, sugar, is a major cause of chronic diseases. Not the only cause, but a major one.
This is really interesting because I was listening to some of your previous interviews so that I could really understand kind of where you're coming from, and we seem to be totally on the same page with this.
Yes.
I think you are a few chapters down the book further along than I am, because I've always believed that sugar doesn't add any nutritional value. It's and we now know very much so that it's sugars in the diet that are the bad guys, not the fats, and we've kind of been taken off course, I think, for many decades by that. But you actually go one stage further, because you say not only is sugar not adding anything of benefit to the diet and it being empty calories, you describe it as actually being positively dangerous.
Yes. Chronically toxic.
Chronically toxic. I mean, that is a bold statement. So before we get on to the deliciousness of chocolate, can we talk about the hazards of sugar, and I try and drill this into my kids all the time, who have grown up kind of, slightly sugar addicted, I have to say, through, I'm always battling with school meals, for example, giving them sugary puddings and lots of, white bread and pasta and all those easy things, which are just turning into glucose in the body. Yes. From your perspective and from your research, what is the danger of having all these sugars in our diet?
Yes, so just to take a step back, please stop me if I waffle on for too long, but basically I don't think sugar is evil or the devil or something. And I think actually our relationship with sugar allowed us to survive in our ancient evolutionary history. And there's fascinating new research combining genetic research and anthropology and biochemistry and metabolic science, showing that basically our ancestors used to eat a lot of fruit in their diet. And this was the way they ate. Our sort of ape ancestors. And there was a period of time when the earth started cooling and they had not enough fruit available all year round. Before, they had all year round fruit. This was in the Miocene era. And at this time, there was one genetic change that occurred in our species, which enabled us to store more fat from fructose, so that we could store a bunch of fat when there was fruit available in the summer and the autumn, and then survive the cool, food scarce winter by eating up our fat stores. So if it weren't for that, and if it weren't for our ability to store fat from sugar, we might not even be here. So it was actually a good thing at one point. The problem now is that this fructose and sugars, it's like a switch, a survival switch or a fat storage switch. So when you are surrounded by sugar, you're switching on that switch, and you don't really need to store the fat because you're surrounded by food all the time.
Because we have, very few of us face starvation and don't have access to food of some kind that we can eat. It's not like we have that feast and famine that we used to have before, where we had to get our fat reserves kind of laid down because we might not eat for the next week or two.
Yes. So in fact, in this situation where we have too much sugar in all kinds of products that you wouldn't even realize, in dressings and sauces and tomato sauces, there's sugar everywhere, and it's turning on this fat storage switch. And it's not all about just appearance and not wanting to get fat, but this type of fat, it's making us insulin resistant. It's causing fat within the organs, in the visceral fat basically, which when you change the organ structure by having more fat in the organs, for example the liver, the pancreas, so it disturbs their function, and over time you become insulin resistant, and that over time can lead to diabetes. Also, acutely having like a high fructose drink, for example, will acutely spike your blood pressure, and there's this whole different kinds of mechanisms by which high sugar causes endothelial dysfunction. So endothelia is like the artery linings. So that's how it relates to heart disease as well. So actually, we thought it was just about salt with regards to blood pressure, but actually, if you really want to increase your blood pressure over time, which you don't want to do, then sugar is kind of one of the best ways to do so. Yeah.
The more I understand about sugar and the way we process it, and it's not just the stuff in the sugar bowl or even the stuff in sweets and ice creams. I can see there's a lot of chat, a lot of people tucking into ice cream at the moment. You might want to step away from that cornetto, by the way, after you've listened to this. But it's creating those fat deposits, it's spiking blood sugars, it's leading to type 2 diabetes, which is so devastating. It's an absolute health epidemic, certainly in the UK, and I know in America as well. And it can lead to blindness and amputations of limbs. It's really, really, really not a good thing in any sense. And I've also been hearing about this thing that they're calling type 3 diabetes, which is linked to the plaque in the brain, and Alzheimer's and dementia almost being linked now to a third type of diabetes. We've got type 1 diabetes, which is genetic, type 2, which is caused by an overload of the sugars and the insulin resistance, and type 3 diabetes, which seems to be creating this sticky plaque in the brain just through eating sugars.
Yes, exactly. So all of these are tied by the root cause mechanism, which is insulin resistance. So your body is not responding to insulin in the way it should. So it's resisting the insulin. And that is a root cause for all of these different chronic diseases and type 3 diabetes in terms of this is one cause of Alzheimer's disease. There are other causes of Alzheimer's disease, even a traumatic brain injury can cause them, but this is one major root cause, insulin resistance. And we used to actually give fructose in packages to people with diabetes, because acutely fructose does not spike your blood glucose. So we talk a lot about glycemic load, glycemic index, which is relevant, and we can come to that later, but it's not the only thing that's relevant. So judging the food simply by its glucose spiking effect is not the only factor, because you could end up eating a lot of fructose, not spike your blood sugar in the short term, but over the long term, fructose makes you more insulin resistance and have higher resting blood glucose and higher spikes to all kinds of foods, and over time basically make you diabetic. So they've stopped giving it to people with diabetes.
How interesting. So let's just clarify this then, because I know a lot of people will think, okay, so I'm going to stop putting sugar in my tea. I'm not going to buy that packet of Haribo, whatever it is, that Magnum ice cream. But I will have my fruit. I'm going to have fruit salad for my dessert. I'm going to put bananas in my smoothie. How good or bad is the fructose in fruit when it comes to all of this?
Yes, well, firstly, there's a wide spectrum within fruit itself. So having a green banana has a lot of resistant starch fiber. That's good. If it's a very brown banana, it has formed more fructose, and you can taste that. So fructose is the sweet part of sugar. So sucrose is half glucose, half fructose. And the glucose is like white rice, potatoes. They're not very sweet. Fructose is what makes sugar sweet. And you can tell the amount of fructose in the fruit simply by the sweetness, right? So a lemon has hardly any at all, but a mango has quite a lot. So, but with fruit, you usually get a lot of fiber. You usually cannot eat 5 apples in a row, but you could probably drink 5 apples in a juice. So that's 5 apples worth of fructose, no fiber. And that's another point. That's an easy hack to minimize the impact of sugar in your life is do not drink it. No liquid sugar.
I've really gone off fruit juices, actually, since doing a lot more of this research and the people I've spoken to, and definitely sweetened fizzy drinks. And I remember talking to an obesity professor not that long ago on one of my podcasts, who was saying that because you have no fiber to slow down that release and signal to the body, oh, I'm having something sweet, let's get ready, let's prepare for it. You're just glugging this highly sweetened juice or drink, and immediately it's being released and spiking into your bloodstream. There's nothing to slow it down. And it's that sudden surge of sugars. Okay, you might say it's from juice, but it doesn't matter where it's from. It's still sugar.
Exactly. And it's physiologically different. So when you drink a high amount of fructose in a drink, it goes straight to your liver, and that's where the fat production and the pathology kind of begins with fructose. Whereas if you eat a fruit, some of that sugar won't even get absorbed because of the fiber, and what gets absorbed mostly will be dealt with by the lining of the intestine, and it might not even reach the liver and cause that pathology. Okay. So it really makes a difference, and so have a solid fruit, not a juice.
I have done that with my kids recently. If I don't get juices, and if they want some apple juice, I'll say have an apple. If they want some orange juice, I'll say here's a tangerine. And also, isn't it interesting how they have bred fruits to be sweeter? The old-fashioned varieties. I was talking to this about somebody yesterday. The old-fashioned Coxes and Bramley apples, certainly that we used to have in England. They're quite sour. They're quite tart. Yeah. And then you look at the new hybrids, you get the Golden Delicious and the Pink Ladies, and so sweet, full of sugar. They've been bred, haven't they, to have more sugar?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, it's true. It's like candy. And dried fruit is candy.
Dried fruit is candy, okay? You heard it here from the expert. It's like dates. They're like little sugar bombs, aren't they? Yeah. I mean, I know, sort of various foodie influencers who often talk about, it's all, it's no refined sugar. I just make these with dates.
Doesn't make a difference.
It's like it's still a massive load of sugar.
It's the same. It's different amounts of glucose and fructose. So they're the ones to watch out for. One of the worst, I think, is agave syrup, because it has this health halo. They draw a little plant on the front of the packaging, but I think it's worse than sugar, table sugar, because it's higher in fructose actually, and it's a liquid.
Sugar. Really? So, I mean, you can even buy boxes of fructose, can't you? It says, like fruit sugar, and you go, I'm going to use that because that's going to be so much healthier.
No.
So what about before we move on to talk about chocolate and the solution? We have the solution, guys. So it's not all doom and gloom, I promise you. What about things like berries? Because I'm a fan of berries, particularly the black pigments with the anthocyanins, so blackberries, blueberries. What's your take on that?
Me too. I'm half Swedish. I'm obsessed with wild berries. I love blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. As you can tell, usually they're not that sweet, except actually in America they're very sweet. They've really done well with the breeding of making them so sweet. But in Europe they're not, in UK they're not that sweet, and they're as you said, full of polyphenols, anthocyanins, so good for your skin, cardiovascular health. The benefits outweigh the small amount of sugar. Totally. So.
And it's hard to eat a large amount of them. You know, I had a bit of high-fat yogurt this morning with some raspberries and some blueberries. And, you know, I had maybe, I don't know, a tablespoon of blueberries, like a dozen or so. And I mean, that was plenty, you know. And I guess if you'd squashed them all together, it would have been, you know, that size of a golf ball or something. I mean, it wasn't... No, coconut sugar is not better. I don't know who's asking these questions. No. And pomegranate juice, no. Just eat the seeds if you want to. Or have small amounts, like in kind of, I guess, in medicinal quantities. So have a couple of spoonfuls of pomegranate juice or wild cherry juice for the health benefit, but not a huge tumblerful.
No.
So let us come on to the kinds of sweeteners that we can have, because as my audience here know, I'm a big fan of dark chocolate.
Yes.
And weaning myself off the sugary stuff by looking at high levels of cocoa solids, so 60, 70, 80%. But there's still some sugar in those brands.
Yes.
How long ago did you create No Mo Sue, which is no more sugar? And how have you made it taste so brilliant with no sugar?
Well, I started this research, and technically I started the company when I was working in my full-time other job. That was back in 2014, so it's been a while. But we only launched the products last year.
Did you?
We do a lot of scientific research, both from a health perspective and from a taste perspective. We actually do research on cellular taste receptors, and we really fine-tune the recipes to make sure that it has a natural good reaction with your cell's taste receptors. And so one of the secrets to why it tastes good is we use the world's only water extracted stevia extract. So most all the other companies, except one company who's figured out how to do it with special filters and membranes with water only, all the other companies extract with chemicals, and that changes the molecular structure of the sweet molecules, and it actually changes the way it reacts with your cell's taste receptors. So you may try stevia sweetened products that have a funny aftertaste.
Totally.
And that's because of the chemical process, not because of the stevia's fault itself. It's just the processing of it.
So let's talk about stevia for those who don't know about it. What is stevia? Where does it come from?
Yeah, so stevia is an amazing plant. I've read every single study on PubMed on stevia, and the history is fascinating too, because the Guiran, sorry, I can't pronounce, their tribes basically in the Amazon have been consuming stevia for thousands of years. It even features in the ancient Mayan text, the Popol Vuh. It's thousands of years old of human consumption, so it's definitely safe from that perspective. But there are so many studies that now verify why they were using it. Actually, the medicine men there were using it for people with hypertension, high blood pressure, and people with high blood sugar. And now the scientific research explains the mechanisms by which it actually lowers blood sugar spikes by 30% in people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic.
So not only is it not spiking, it's actively lowering.
Yes.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
It's a medicine. Yeah, and if you take it in the research with high doses have fantastic antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects. The thing is, it's about 300 times as sweet as sugar, so you usually don't use very much in the cake or whatever to make it taste sweet. But so it's an amazing adaptogen because it doesn't lower your blood sugar if you have normal blood sugar. So it's really a wonderful plant. And the problem is food companies have only been using this chemically extracted form, which doesn't taste very good.
It does. You're right. It has a slightly bitter aftertaste.
Yeah. So it's got a bit of a bad reputation because of that unfortunately, from a taste perspective. But from a health perspective, it's amazing. And if you use it like we do in the right way with the right combination of ingredients, it has a natural reaction with your cell's taste receptor, and you have a delicious taste. And they also, the chocolates, we put a lot of effort in finding the best, highest quality ingredients for both the cacao from Rainforest Alliance certified plantations, organic ones that are really like biodynamic and beautiful forests. And the cacao, they grow like cinnamon and different plants next to the cacao coffee. And I think that infuses the earth with those other flavors. And so it's really characterful. And then, for example, our matcha chocolate, I'm half Japanese, and we searched all over Japan and we did blind tastings with matcha sommeliers to find the best matcha.
And your background was growing up in Belgium, so presumably, I mean, Belgium's famous for Belgian chocolate. You must be a bit of a chocolate connoisseur, really, from your background.
Yes, I mean, it is like everyone's daily diet definitely involves chocolate in Belgium.
Now, which one did you start with? Because I have, obviously in the interest of research, you understand, I have eaten a large amount of your chocolate. And I have to say, I am super impressed. We do have a Liz Loves, so I have to say a massive thank you for giving us all a discount. I should just say that now if anybody wants to go and check you out. It is nomusu.com, and the Liz Loves, all in capitals, all one word, does give you 10% off if you want to try. So I had the milk chocolate to start with, which I have to say is very, very impressive. If you're not into dark chocolate yet, if you haven't yet kind of acclimatized your taste buds to the darker polyphenols. So this is, I'm just looking to see what is 45% chocolate.
So it's still quite a high cacao for a milk chocolate. Sometimes milk chocolates are 30% cacao on basis.
Or less.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, and it's from grass-fed, pasture-raised cows from a lovely cooperative of farmers.
Is it?
Good.
Oh, that makes my heart sing, hearing that. That is really fabulous. Well, that's good. Also, it's not only no more sugar, it's no more plastic.
Yeah,
so you covered every box, haven't you? Really, you've ticked everything. It's organic. It says here it's high in fibre, and I want to talk to you about that. But this is no more plastic. So what is this wrapper made of then? If it's not made of plastic?
It's made of wood cellulose.
Really?
It's a Japanese company. Yeah, it's really cool. It's
Super
cellulose. Yeah, it's compostable in normal temperatures, like just compost.
Love that, and lovely boxes, cardboard boxes. So that's the milk chocolate, which is kind of, I would say, a very good entry level point.
Yes.
And then you have the 80% is phenomenal. This I really, really like. This is your dark chocolate with sea salt.
Oh yes, that's a popular one.
Is it? Well, that mix of kind of sweet and salt. It's so good. I'm just going to have a little piece just to remind myself of how good it is. Tell us about the gut-friendly properties then, both of chocolate and also how you managed to make a high fibre claim. I don't really understand that.
Yes. Yeah, so we deliberately, I didn't want to just make a sugar-free product. You can make a sugar-free cookie with white rice flour and vegetable oil, and it'll be terrible for your health, but you can still make it technically sugar-free. So I really wanted to make this like a product that adds value to your daily nutrition, so
really we positively benefit from eating it.
Exactly.
We have to eat it, okay, you got this, guys? You have to eat this chocolate. I'm very sorry. You're just going to have to eat some chocolate for your health. You eat 1 bar a day?
Yes.
I wish you could see this lady. She looks incredible. She's eating a whole bar a day for her health. I love you.
So we make them. Most people don't get enough fiber in their diet. I think fiber is probably the most undervalued macronutrient. So it feeds our gut microbiome, as you know, and we deliberately put prebiotic fiber in there from agave, not agave syrup, agave fiber, which is a type of inulin fiber, and also chicory fiber, to add value in terms of adding more fiber to people's diet, and also it'll help blunt if you're eating other food, it'll help, blunt blood sugar responses when you have more fiber with your meal. So that's why they're high in prebiotic fiber.
But it's very smooth. I mean, the chocolate doesn't taste fibrous at all. It's completely smooth. It melts in the mouth just like a high quality chocolate would.
Yes.
And they're also vegan.
Yeah, they're all vegan except the milk chocolate and the matcha chocolate, which have the grass-fed cow's milk. Yeah.
Amazing.
So.
I mean, you have really just ticked every box. Which one do you like for its polyphenol content? Because I remember interviewing Professor Spector, Tim Spector, obviously gut health guru, and he's told me that the polyphenols in dark chocolate are the richest natural plant sources of polyphenols of anything in the plant kingdom.
Yeah, they are amazing. Cacao is a superfood without the sugar. There are thousands of studies on PubMed about cacao's benefits, both for gut health, immune regulatory health, skin health, cardiovascular health. So the 80% cacao has the highest amount of cacao polyphenols, but the matcha chocolate has a good amount of matcha as well, and that has a different type of kind of plant polyphenol called ECGC, which is also very good for you and your skin and everything as well. But the 80% has the highest amount of polyphenols, but all the darks are 72% cacao, so they're all still very high in polyphenols.
This one I love. This, honestly, I have to say, this is possibly my favourite one, although the sea salt one I think is really good. The dark chocolate with hazelnut.
Yes, and
that is a really good combination.
So in a couple of months, we've got a new amazing hazelnut supplier, so it's even sort of bigger, nicer chunks, very toasted, and very nice. So.
You've got a dream job, haven't you? Kind of developing and tasting chocolates. I'm being asked here questions on cholesterol. Is there any issue?
Yes.
Somebody who's I've got high cholesterol. Is this chocolate okay for me? Asks Celia on Facebook. I imagine it's completely fine.
Yes. Well, cacao is excellent for cardiovascular health, for endothelial function, which is related to cholesterol. I did, as I said, my dissertation on this topic, so I could go on for hours about all the different lipoproteins and so on. But yes, cacao is very good for you. Sugar is not good. This is a good option.
It's a good option. Lisa's saying here, I crave something sweet when I'm tired, when I come home from work. What can I have, please? And then she goes on to say, I've put the cornetto back. Good girl. Step away from the cornetto. Other ice creams are available, obviously, but you should obviously step away from them too.
Yes.
So what would you recommend? I mean, I love chocolate because it does give me that lift. It gives me that little caffeine hit, which I actually really like.
Yes, and it also has theobromine, which is kind of another type of energy lift as well. So I think chocolate is a great option. Sugar is not a great option because it'll spike your energy, your blood glucose, as when you give to children candy and so on, they get really hyperactive and then maybe very tired after. So that's why I would avoid sugar. The other thing to note about fructose, which I didn't mention earlier, is that it's the only food we eat that makes us more hungry. Like, it suppresses our satiety fullness hormone, leptin, and it increases our ghrelin.
It increases ghrelin, that's the hunger hormone. So
sugar
is going to make us hungrier. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's the only food we eat that makes us hungrier, sugar. Yeah, so that's a bit dangerous about it as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you're hungry and you need a lift, then you're eating something that's going to make you hungrier.
Exactly.
That's what I mean, really just shocking, isn't it? How so much of this information has been suppressed and that we just don't know about it. I mean, I think it's really, really fascinating. So people are asking where we get Nomo Sue. Is it just online? I mean, that's obviously the best way.
It's also Planet Organic stores. And nomosu.com, and hopefully in more stores soon. We're trying to expand both in the UK and the US. We're a small team, so it takes time, but it's,
Yeah, fantastic. And where is your chocolate coming from? Where is the actual cacao coming from?
Yeah, from Ecuador and Dominican Republic. We tried many different origins and different blends and so on, and we just love the character of these two combined. We really love the Central American and South American cacao best. And so,
Incredible. Now, when we're talking about sugar-free and low sugar and low carb, a lot of people will relate that to things like the keto diet, Atkins. Does this fit in? Is it going to be compatible with any of that?
Yes. So I would say watch out for any foods or companies that are claiming that their food is keto, because you can't define a food as keto. You can define a human being by measuring their ketone levels as being in ketosis. But I would would say that it's fine if the food product like ours says it's keto friendly, because it's very low carb, no sugar. So it's friendly to someone with a ketogenic diet that is having very low amounts of carbs. And the important thing when you're on a ketogenic diet is to still get good micronutrients like polyphenols.
Yeah.
And so this is a great way to get those micronutrients in a low carb, zero sugar way.
Gosh, I've got a great friend actually who's been doing keto. He had heart issues a few years ago and went on to a keto diet and totally changed his blood fats and, you know, stabilized everything, and has been super healthy. Also lost about 3 stone in weight and gained mental clarity and energy. And you know, I said, well, okay, so you know, when are you going to start eating carbs again? He's like, I'm never going to go back, because you know, some people doesn't suit everybody, but for some people, if it works for you, you know, you really don't want to go off it. And I always think, you know, well, you know, what can I serve? You know, what can I make, or what can I bring if I go around for supper or whatever. So this would be a good option if you know somebody who is doing keto for whatever reason.
Yes. Exactly.
And not wanting to spike it. Could you cook with this, or is it really just something that you would want to eat?
Yes, we are working hard to get our chocolate chips and our couverture chocolate discs out, so for baking, and that'll happen this year, I hope. But you can just buy the bars and cook and melt them. We melt them and dip things, strawberries in, and so you can definitely melt them down.
That is just incredible. I mean, I'm really blown away by the fact that we should positively be eating your chocolate as a health benefit, not just saying, you know, when you want a sweet treat, it's a really nice thing and it's not going to spike your blood sugars and it's going to give you some polyphenols and whatever, but actually the real genuine benefits. That is, I'm staggered by that.
Well, originally chocolate was a health drink for the Mayans. You know, it was an invigorating drink. It wasn't sweetened. And it was, they took it when they went out to battle, when they went out to hunt and so on. It was an invigorating health drink originally.
Gosh, and we've gone so far away from that. I mean, commercial, I have to say, call it junk chocolate, like junk food. I mean, it's so sweet. And when you look at the labels, I mean, let's talk about how to read a label. I think that's really useful information because mostly, certainly here in the UK and I think across the EU, the sugar content of any food on a label is measured per 100 grams.
Yes.
So you can see it quite clearly. It'll say, I don't know. I mean, what's your guideline when looking at sugar labels? What would you have, and what would you look for, and what would you avoid?
Yeah. So my guideline is to make sure the food product has less than 5 grams per 100 grams in the sugar in the nutrition table. Basically.
Okay, less than 5 grams per 100 grams. So on every sugar label, I can imagine everybody after this broadcast is going to be rushing off to their cupboards, checking everything. Be very interesting exercise. You could line them all up in descending order, couldn't you? All the packets, sauces and bottles and jars and jams and all of that. What's the percentage per 100 gram? And you want to be 5 grams or less.
Yes, so but basically I love it in Europe because it's per 100 grams. So you can think of it as a percentage of the weight of this thing I'm holding is 5% sugars, for example. So, and then, however, so the things that are above that, you can think of them as a treat and, you know, to have in moderation if you want, if you love them. But otherwise, generally, I would stick to less than 5 grams per 100 grams and ideally not in liquid form. So that's another factor we talked about earlier, like, if it's
have it with the fibre, so not the juices, not the drinks, because that's just going straight into your system to spike
and if
everything.
You're going to have it, if you're going to have a cornetto, if you have it after a high fibre protein meal, that's much better than having it on an empty stomach as well.
Yeah. So, no, I know there's been a lot of chat actually on social media, and there's some very interesting researchers showing just that at the moment. And I've done experiments wearing blood glucose monitors and tracking my own sugar spiking just out of interest for, you know, writing books and things and talking about it. But if you have that protein first, it's the order in which we eat foods that can also make a difference. So, which I guess is why we have puddings at the end of the meal, because, you know, we've hopefully had some good healthy protein and fat to slow down then the sugar spike. What you don't want is to have on an empty stomach, is to be spiking with a load of sugar. And can we get those high sugar foods even in things like, ketchup and savoury packet foods? Is that going to be surprising, I think, for some people?
Yes, it will be. Soups, sauces, ketchup for sure. Yeah, often in soups. And unfortunately, there's about 100 different words for sugar. So they hide it. They say, you can say evaporated cane juice. Sounds interesting.
That sounds quite healthy, evaporated cane juice.
Sounds like a flower.
And it's really, just sugar.
It's just coconut sugar. Yeah, there's so many words that people use too.
And also, what's really weaselly, I think, in terms of wording, is the way that they will split it out at a manufacturer. So they'll say, contains corn syrup, glucose syrup, maltose, dextrose, whatever.
Yeah.
They're all sugar. So, when you lump it all together, you may have a food that's, 80-90% sugar. But all in these different little things that you think, it's got all these different things in them, a bit of glucose, a bit of sucrose, whatever.
Yes.
I was in... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
About one ingredient that is often found in sugar-free chocolate, which is maltitol. It's a synthetic sweetener. It's an artificial sweetener. It actually breaks down into sorbitol and glucose, which breaks down into basically glucose and fructose. So inside the body, it becomes sugar. On the package, they can say 0 grams of sugar per 100 grams. And people with diabetes are picking this up, and it's really not good for them. So this is one you should watch out for and avoid.
Very interesting. Okay, so maltitol. Maltitol. Okay, if you see that on a label and it says 0 sugar, and you're thinking maltitol, this is good, and then it breaks down in your body into sugar.
Yes, and it's great for the food companies because it tastes like sugar, it functions like sugar because it's biochemically.
Because it is sugar, basically.
Yeah.
That is, my goodness.
So just the ones that are good for you. Okay, just really quickly. So monk fruit extract is fine. We don't use monk fruit extract because, in Europe, I don't think it's fully allowed yet. There's still, it will be soon. It's perfectly fine for you, but it's kind of quite an unsustainable source in terms of growing the monk fruit. And then erythritol is fine. It's the only polyol that is actually fine. It actually deters pathogenic bacteria in the mouth, and it is tiny molecular size, so it literally washes through you and kind of out in the urine, has no impact on metabolism, has no calories, and it's found naturally in fermented foods like tamari sauce, mushrooms, and fresh mushrooms, and so it's a natural ingredient, but it sounds a bit like a chemical. It's erythritol is totally fine. Monk fruit extract, erythritol, stevia is, as we spoke about, a medicinal plant, and xylitol I think is okay. It does break down somewhat into glucose, but no fructose, so it has a bit of calories and a bit of glycemic, but not much. And then there's a newish one called allulose, which I'm still not 100% comfortable with it. I think it looks very promising, and it's very popular in the U.S., allulose. And it seems to lower blood sugar, but we don't understand why, and I would like to understand, why before, fully using it and so on. Those are the main healthy sweeteners that are totally not sugars, and you can eat them and feel fine.
Honestly, this is so fascinating. I'm kind of struggling to get my head around it all. And do you have lots of information on your website? Can we go to Nomasu?
There's a whole science section.
Okay, excellent. I'd love to talk to you more, honestly. I hope you'll come and be a podcast guest, because this is such an important topic. I mean, it's interesting how you start chatting about something that's quite fun, sugar-free chocolate, and you think, oh, great, this will be quite fun to talk about. But actually, in terms of health, well-being, longevity, Alzheimer's, brain health, type 2 diabetes, type 3 diabetes, this is really important stuff, isn't it? You can look at it on a superficial fun level, but actually the important messaging here is crucial for all of us, for our kids, for our parents, for ourselves.
Exactly.
And we've just got to get off this sugar fix, haven't we?
Yes.
It's just got to stop. I'm sorry, guys. It's just got to stop. I was away last week, just quickly before we go, because I know we're running out of time, but I was away last week in Turkey at a wellness conference, and one of the speakers was Dr. Mark Hyman, who I'm sure you will know as a top functional medicine medic and writer.
Yes.
And he was basically saying, very similar to you, he was saying, no sugar, no flour. No flour. And in fact, interestingly, on the whole of the break when I was there was no bread on the property at all. You know, there was no bread, there was no pasta. And I kind of didn't miss it because it wasn't there. And he just said, it just breaks down into glucose. You know, so, you know, if you're eating flour, you're having bread, you're having rice, even if it's brown rice, doesn't really matter. You're just breaking, it's just breaking down and turning into sugar in your body.
Yes. Yes, and actually what's fascinating with the latest research is that if you have excess amounts of glucose, so rice, flour, bread, etc., it actually triggers this pathway in the body that generates fructose, the sweet sugar, which then leads down to all the pathological kind of fat storage, visceral fat, and insulin resistance things. So it's actually the excess flour turns into fructose first before it then has these damaging effects. So, yeah, it's really like fructose is the mediator of that. But,
and potatoes too, presumably, because they're starch and carbs.
Yes, yes. And another hack is that if you have something cold, like cold rice in sushi, white rice, it'll have less of an impact than if it's a warm, mushy kind of risotto. So it really matters how you process, how you cook things, and so on. So if you still want a bit of rice, then having it cold.
I do that. I have written about this, actually. Tell me if you agree with me. But my kids do like pasta, and I like pasta too. And my ex-husband was half Italian, so, you know, we used to eat a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
But I would buy whole wheat pasta, which I like, and I would cook it al dente, so it wasn't completely mushy, so it was still a little teeny bit crunchy in the middle, and then I'd chill it, I'd run it under cold water, put it in the fridge to get the resistant starch created, and then when we wanted to eat it, I'd just shove it into some boiling water, bring it back to the boil to heat it, and then serve it with the sauce.
That's a great idea.
Do you think that's okay? I mean, it's not perfect.
Yes.
But, you know, hey, none of us are perfect. It's just kind of doing the least worst that we can do when you want to have a bowl of pasta.
Exactly.
So we're not saying never. We're just saying think about it and be a bit clever with it, I think.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, honestly, I think your brand and everything that you're doing is genius. No more Sue. Thank you. I have all these different packets here, which I'm now obviously going to have to finish, not only because they taste great, but because they're going to be incredibly good for me and my skin and my inflammatory markers and all the rest of it. nomosue.com is where you go to. Liz Loves, in capitals, all one word, gets you 10% off anything that you want to try. And I can't wait to hear about your chocolate chips and your couverture discs for cooking.
Yes.
Amazing. You're going to have to be doing ice creams next. There's going to have to be a nomosue cornetto.
They're very good. So we're going to have ice creams in the future.
Oh, will you come back and chat again? Because it's such an important subject. And I really am fascinated. Devon Creator here. She's saying she's got a box of Maltesers. What should I do? Maybe give them somebody you don't really like. No? Oh dear, great to chat with you. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in across the globe. We really, really appreciate it.
Lovely speaking with you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You're going to have to leave me, otherwise I click everybody off. Yeah, if you just click go. Oh my goodness. Wasn't that amazing? Yeah, Victoria, please come back. Brilliant. No, spelt flour, I'm afraid it's the same. High fibre pastas. Yeah, Joe, they're a bit better, because you're slowing down. It's all about slowing down the insulin release, but try not to have it all the time, you know. But this you could have all the time. I didn't know about that. Isn't that so great? This is the one I like, dark chocolate with hazelnut. If you're a hazelnut eater, then that is the one. But they're all good. Anyway, try them. Let me know what you think. So before I go, just a couple of other quick things. Actually, interestingly, talking about fibre, because fibre obviously is the kind of the key thing here, and it's very interesting. You know, I don't know whether you can see here, it kind of comes out in reverse, doesn't it, on the screen. It says high fibre. So you've actually got a high fibre chocolate with the inulin and the fibre that's in there, which I think is fascinating, because you can't taste it. It doesn't taste of fibre, but you're feeding those little gut bugs with good quality fibre. The other thing that I'm really enjoying, and let me know whether you've got this if you tried it. You may remember that I did a live with Gabriella Peacock, and this was talking about high fibre nutrition, and this is the extraordinary cognac fibre, which you just add to a glass of water before you eat. and it just fills up, it swells in your tummy, it gives you loads of fibre, makes you less hungry, it's very good for gut health, it's feeding your good gut bugs, absolutely brilliant. So this, I've come to Scotland, I'm away, I'm having some lovely suppers because I'm staying with friends, so I have brought this with me and I'm having this before I go out for dinner, and it's definitely helping me not feel so hungry, not eat so much. Really, really, really good. Yeah, high quantities. You shouldn't have high quantities of inulin and all of that, but small amounts, really helpful. Our gut bugs love, 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 love inulin, and chicory in particular. It's very good, very good. Prebiotic fibre to feed our gut bugs. So yes, I think, let me just check for you, because Gabriella Peacock, GP Nutrition, 15% off if you want to try that fibre, and that is GP Nutrition. Is it .com? Yeah, gpnutrition.com. So that's the Gabriella Peacock. Yeah, lots of nice comments about that actually. Yeah, it is really good. Yeah, so if you want to have fibre, it's about having the good quality fibre that isn't spiking your blood sugars. So having the fruits, for example, that have got beneficial fibre in there as well. Yeah, lots of good chat. Yes, so Isabel has just picked up on something here. Lily's serum sold out. I was talking about her serum on Monday. I'm sorry about it. Isabel saying, I'm glad I ordered it when I did. I spoke to her, my lovely Lil. She's in Dubai. I know you won't be watching, my darling, but you might be seeing this on Catch Up. Congratulations on everything that you're doing in the world of beauty and beauty tech. So on Monday, you may have seen, Lily launched. It was a global exclusive. It was the launch of the Rich Gold Serum, which is made by Cell Return in South Korea. And it's got these little tiny gold particles, which is incredibly good for the skin. And it's got the highest grade of hyaluronic acid. I have been using this. Honestly, you wait till you get it. You will thank me forever for this, because it is unbelievably good. Yeah, Nikki, it will come back. I spoke to her yesterday when she admitted that unfortunately they had sold out. It literally, you guys went and hoovered it all up. But she is getting some back. I think they're sending some by special delivery over from South Korea, so they get more back in stock. They have got a wait list. So if you'd like to make sure that you get it when it comes back into stock, go to cellreturn.co.uk and pop your name on the wait list. And if you use your Liz Loves 21, that's the code for Cell Return, Liz Loves 21, that will give you 10% off your order. Okay, so, but get on that list, because I know the minute it comes back in. Adele, you go to cellreturn.co.uk. Nikki, I know, I need it too. It's absolutely brilliant. I brought it with me. I'm going to be talking to her again about it. I'm seriously impressed. And I think I said to her at the time, I kind of wish that you weren't my daughter doing it, because I just rave about it so much, and everyone's just going to think, oh, you're only talking about that because it's your daughter. You know, well, of course I would support her, but I also would know that A, she wouldn't do anything that wasn't evidence-based and didn't really work. And if I didn't really, really love it, I would not be quite so vocal about it, but it is genuinely good. I think the normal price, Sarah, is 75, and with the discount it's like 67, something like that, which in terms of high quality serums is exceptional. I think I told you I was going through the airport, I was going through Heathrow when I was going out to, I think it was the resort in Switzerland, and I'd run out of serum. And I thought, well, I'll go and have a little look at all these expensive counters and, you know, see what they're doing, because I don't often get the chance to go in and have a look at different types of skincare. And they were so expensive. Oh, my goodness. The ones with decent ingredients were like £120, £130. And I just thought, there is no way I'm spending that kind of money. I mean, they may be very good, but I'm just not doing it. I just can't bring myself to do it. So I managed to find one that I thought looked kind of reasonable-ish, and that was about £80. And actually, I really don't like it. I won't tell you what it is, because that wouldn't be fair, but it was very highly perfumed. What I like about this one is there's no fragrance. So if your skin is quite sensitive and you just want something that's very, very lightweight, then very, very good. Anyway, that is just about it for today. I am in Scotland, so that means that on Tuesday, all being well, I will be coming live from the Outer Hebrides. Isn't that exciting? I can't wait. I'm going to be bringing you Ishka skincare and talking about seaweed and hopefully showing you some amazing scenery from up there. Just really, really good stuff. Being asked questions about the magazine. This is the brand new edition. If you haven't yet got yours, we do have some, not many, but we do have some. Head to LizEarleWellbeing.com and there is your subscription gift. Country Living, this is the serum. It's called Rich Gold. Just to warn you, when you get it, either you've got it, you managed to get it on Monday, in case, well done, but otherwise if you're on the wait list, if you get it for the second lot that Lily manages to get hold of, it is currently in South Korean language. So unless you are fluent in South Korean, what Lily is doing is they are ultimately working on repackaging it properly with English. But what she's doing is she's just sending out a little printout with a little note from her to say that she's translated it. Obviously all the information's on the website, but don't be surprised if when you get it, you find that it is in South Korean, because, you know, she's working on it, okay? It's work in progress. Oh, you got your yearbook. Oh, well done, Joe. So I have got a very few of my yearbooks. I thought I'd sold out or virtually sold out. It's yearbook 2. I have a small number left. I've signed them and we will send them out. You'll find them on the Liz Earle Wellbeing website. Once they've gone completely. You didn't get a note with yours, Lorraine. Oh dear, I shall have a word with her. Lily did say that she was putting, maybe you got it before she got around to doing that, but there should have been, hopefully you had the instructions in English and the ingredients in English. If not, go to cellreturn.co.uk. Amazing ingredients. She's got, I think, 18 different botanicals, including things like green tea and all the stuff that we know is great for the skin, and this premium hyaluronic acid, and this very, very fine gold, actual real gold particles, which are so good for the skin, brightening, anti-inflammatory. There's lots of very healing properties. I remember researching gold. I think I was writing a piece, might have been for the website or for the magazine a few years ago, and it was one Christmas, and I wanted to write about gold, frankincense and myrrh. So I looked up all the skincare benefits of gold, and I was really amazed, actually, at what gold can do for your skin. It's really amazing. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I'll be back at normal time. So that's in the UK, 12:30 to 1:30, live on Instagram and Facebook, of course, later on YouTube. If you're watching me in real time, I've got a brand new episode of the Liz Earle Wellbeing Show that will go live tomorrow, looking at mental health, anxiety, helps for mums, new mums, old mums. So if you'd like to listen to that, that will go live tomorrow. Anyway, Lavender Hill Clothing. Hi, nice to see you. I'm wearing one of your shirts. Yeah, I love this colour. It's my Wellbeing pink. I think it's like the kind of a soft linen. If you don't know Lavender Hill Clothing, go and check them out. You've got a great sale on at the moment. I was looking at your website the other day. It's Isabel, who's the female founder of Lavender Hill Clothing. Anyway, this is one that I bought ages ago, and I love it. I wear it all the time. So that's it from me. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a lovely end of the week. It's nearly the weekend, so take care and go well. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.